That man is a national treasure. Hello, my name is Liz Ashley and welcome to my channel. You know, the intro video was Zohran at Pride. Speaking of Pride, Pride STL was this weekend and I have lost my voice. I feel horrible. I think I might be sick or getting sick. I don't know. I also went out of town before this and it's like a running joke with my friends that every time I go to Nashville, I get sick. Here we are. I went to Pride STL this past weekend, and it was so much fun. So much fun that now I have like lost my voice. My whole body is just like, oh my God. My whole body hurts because like I walked around all day and it was like super hot. But it was really fun. I got to see Jordan Sparks and David Archuleta. I got to see Flyana Boss. Okay, that was like the biggest thing is I got to see freaking Flyana Boss. Oh my God, I love them so much. But Zohran in that video obviously got lots of love from everyone at Pride. And, you know, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Zohran and we're going to talk about how he won and the insane racist attacks against him and why a lot of the things that even Democrats are saying are baseless. And we're just going to talk about that. Even though the establishment of both parties are like so against him, it seems like the more the establishment is against him, the more the people and all kinds of people are for him and are celebrating him. So yeah, we're going to talk about that today. So I did a live, actually my first live on, the election night, and I was so excited. I was really happy because all day I was so anxious, and I don't even live in New York. One day I want to. I love New York. It's my favorite place, but like, I was just so invested in this. I was just so invested in this election. And it's a primary mayor election in New York. It's kind of wild how many people are invested in this. But I do think that this election mattered because it was going to show if establishment Democrats can still pull through, even though someone like Andrew Cuomo, who is literally like, he has a hell of a lot of allegations on him for SA, and has been, if you watch the Majority Report, you've seen there's one of the women that he SA'd that has been like suing him and like going after him, and he's been suing all of his victims for like OBGYN records, for like all these different things, and he has been like harassing them while they're suing him. And so he's a horrible person.
To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it because we got to get it right.
Not only that, he was not a good governor, and he didn't run a good campaign. He just kind of was like, oh, well, because I guess, see, I didn't know this, but I guess his dad was also governor, and so he thought that he could just run on name recognition, which is usually true, especially in a primary, and that he would just win. And so he didn't really campaign all that much, honestly. And I was really nervous. I didn't think not that I didn't think he was gonna win. I always feel like there's this sense of disappointment when it comes to like progressive candidates, because yes, some of them do win. People like Summer Lee, people like AOC, people like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, like they win, you know, but I feel like there's so much more disappointment that I felt, you know, throughout, like, you know, I've gone canvassing for people. Of course, I live in Missouri, so canvassing for people like that in Missouri is not, you know, doesn't really go very far. But like, it's just, sometimes you feel so much disappointment that you don't want to get your hopes up. But I was so excited and I was so happy. And like, the crazy part about it is he won handily. Like, he won so handily that they called it that night, which a lot of people are saying they weren't going to do, because with ranked choice voting, you have to go through all the different scenarios. You have to go through all the different rankings. All they had to do was go through the first round. So Zohran was ranked number 1 enough that he won in the first round, which is crazy because everyone thought that he was going to win by like, okay, well, you know, if people below rank him number 2 or 3, that's how he'll win. But no, he, like, from the first round, he won. And, you know, Cuomo conceded, all this kind of stuff. But that is something that a lot of people didn't think. Like, the polling didn't suggest that. And so they were off. Like, they were way off. And it was amazing to see. It was almost, I was almost in disbelief watching it. And apparently, I was watching something earlier that a lot of the people who voted for Zohran, the younger people, of course, he got the youth vote, like, by so much. But apparently the younger people that voted for him, he got more people out to vote for him in a New York mayor primary than the general presidential election did. In that, like, in New York. Yeah, it's because people were excited. Like, people were excited. And a lot of people on the left during the presidential election were saying, hey, it's not about if people are going to vote Democrat or Republican. That's not what this is. The Democrats are up against people who are just not going to vote because they don't feel excited to. I feel like this proves that. This proves that if you are fighting for something that is going to help people, if you are fighting for something that people find exciting and they want to go out and canvas for you and they want to do phone banks and all this kind of stuff, then people are going to vote. Like, people are going to vote for you because now you're creating a movement, not just like a campaign. So I think this has shown the Democrats, and I think it's shown, you know, people in both establishments that people are not okay with like politics as it's been. Hopefully they'll wake up to see that. I don't think they are. I think they see it more as a threat than they do for the Democrats. Of course, Republicans see it as a threat, but I think Democrats see it more as a threat than they do see it as something that could help the party be more popular, which is very concerning, one, and just upsetting, another one, and also not surprising, really. Not surprising at all. So that's basically how he won. Now let's get into the response and the backlash. So a lot of the stuff that people have been saying about him is just horrendous. It's disgusting. So we'll do the conservative part first. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, she posted the Statue of Liberty in a burqa, and just like racist, just like the pure bigotry. Islamophobia in this country is so normalized. It's so disgusting. And so she posted that. She posted Statue of Liberty in a burqa. Psychotic. Laura Loomer, she said, Zohran Mamdani, I always worry I'm saying his last name wrong. Zohran Mamdani hasn't even been a U.S. citizen for 10 years. He is literally supported by terrorists. Not true. NYC is about to see 9/11 2.0. So that is something that a lot of people have been bringing up is 9/11 and saying that because Zohran is Muslim, that people have forgotten 9/11 and that how do you have 9/11 and then elect someone who's a Muslim? Again, racism, just bigotry, just pure racism, okay? And I know that a lot of people like to demonize the Muslim religion. A lot of people, especially in this country, because of the Islamophobia that was pushed by our government so we could get on board with a war. Luckily, people seem to see past this. And honestly, I think it's gross. I think, if anything, it just makes people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like Laura Loomer. I mean, I think they're gross, but like, I feel like it just makes them look even more gross. Zohran's been getting death threats. He had to get security because he got death threats. And no one seems to care about that. Also, people should not be scared for him to be their mayor just because he's Muslim. That is racist. I say this all the time, but I'm like, a lot of people I think need to do some inward inspection and ask themselves why they feel the way they do. Ask themselves why they think Muslim people are scary just because they exist. To bring up 9/11 as if he had anything to do with it, as if all Muslims just want to do 9/11. Like, that's what they think, and that's what they're trying to say, and that is not true. And they're being so blatant, and the Democrats are barely fighting back. Hakeem Jeffries only fought back on one person, and that was Andy Ogles. And he didn't even fight back on the merit of it. He just called Andy Ogles, like, fake or a lie. I don't know, because I guess Andy Ogles lied about everything. He called him like George Santos too or whatever. I hate him so much. He's ridiculous and he refuses to do anything. But what Rep Andy Ogle said was disgusting. 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 And is he going to get censured? Are any of these people going to get censured? Because Rashida Tlaib got censured. Is anyone else going to get censured? Okay, so this is what Rep Andy Ogle said. He said Zohran Little Mohammed Mamdani is an anti-Semitic socialist communist. Socialism and communism are two different things. FY, F and I get so mad. They're just like buzzwords and they mean nothing. And socialists and communists are two separate things. Anyway, who will destroy the great city of New York. He needs to be deported, which is why I'm calling for him to be subject to a denaturalization proceedings. Now, this was before the Supreme Court said that lower courts cannot issue injunctions federally now. So now lower courts do not have as much power as they used to. Before, when Trump tried to go after birthright citizenship, he wasn't able to do that because other courts were saying, hey, no, you can't do that. Now they can't do that anymore. Because the Supreme Court did that, he can go on and do his birthright citizenship thing, which is unconstitutional, which is illegal, which is terrifying and very scary and a very scary thing, not only because of birthright citizenship, but also because if lower courts do not have the ability to do that, then it's pretty much anything goes. It's pretty much anything goes. So it's very concerning that Rep. Andy Ogles is talking like this because this is something that they honestly might try to do. Like, I don't know. I hope they don't. Insane. Again, they also want to use this like old communist act or whatever, that communists can't be in government, which is a real thing, in America, which is a real thing that's still on the books in America, by the way, which is psychotic. Also, communism and socialism are two separate things, and I wish the people who kept saying this would actually just like read into it. It's just so frustrating for them to try to scare people away from things that they know nothing about. But Donald Trump did weigh in on this. He said, it's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zohran Mamdani is a 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. Okay. Projection much. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. Please, smarter than this man. He's got AOC plus 3 dummies all backing him. And even our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment of history in our country. Now, I wish Chuck Schumer was groveling over him. He's not. He just said, oh, he's worked with him before, blah, blah. He did not vote for him because he did not say who he was going to vote for. He also did not endorse him. Neither did Hakeem Jeffries. And they've been asked, and like, well, we just don't know each other that well, blah, blah, blah. But even Democrats are calling him anti-Semitic, which is crazy because he hasn't said anything anti-Semitic. He said that he wants to create New York for all people. He said that he, even if we don't agree, he's willing to listen and wants to hear the people who are scared out.
Heard those fears and I've had those conversations, and ultimately they are part and parcel of why in my campaign I've put forward a commitment to increase funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800%. I don't believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech in the manner especially of that of Donald Trump, who has put one New Yorker in jail who's just returned to his family, Mahmoud Khalil, for that very supposed crime of speech. Ultimately, what I think I need to show is the ability to not only talk about something, but to tackle it and to make clear that there's no room for anti-Semitism in this city. We have to root out that bigotry, and ultimately we do that through the actions, and that is the mayor I will be, one that protects Jewish New Yorkers and lives up to that commitment through the work that I do.
Which I think is admirable to continue after him saying over and over again that he wants this to be for everyone. He wants to work for everyone. He has listened to people out. He has heard people out. To yet and still go after him like he's anti-Semitic is just racist. Kristen Gillibrand did it the worst. I actually need to call her office after this because I haven't called her yet, but everyone call her and tell her that you're not okay with her bigotry. So she went on a radio show and did an interview, and it's wild because Zohran did an interview with the same person like a week or a couple days earlier. And he asked him all of the things that Kristen Gillibrand has a problem with, right? So she goes off. She calls him anti-Semitic. She said that he likes global jihad, that he said globalized the intifada, and like goes on and on and on, right?
Constituents that I've spoken to that are alarmed. They are alarmed by past public statements. They are alarmed by past positions, particularly references to global jihad. This is a very serious issue because people that glorify the slaughter of Jews create fear in our communities. The global intifada is a statement that means destroy Israel and kill all the Jews. So these are the kinds of things that if Mr. Mamdani is elected our mayor, we'll need to assure all New Yorkers that he will protect all Jews and protect houses of worship and protect funding for not-for-profits that meet the needs of these communities. Those are the things he'll have to do as our mayor.
He would certainly say that he has committed to protecting all Jews in New York as mayor of New York. Do you dispute? Do you doubt that?
Well, one of the issues I did talk to him yesterday was exactly this issue, and he has agreed to work with me on this and to protect all residents. So this is something I care deeply about, and so I will be an advocate on these issues. These are things that I think are important to New Yorkers, and I will work with him when he gets elected, if he gets elected, to make sure everyone is protected.
And this reporter has to fact check her. And he's like, well, to my knowledge, he's never supported terrorism. He's never supported the jihad. Like to my knowledge, that's never anything he's said. Essentially, she's just saying, oh, he's pro-Palestinian, so automatically he's a terrorist and anti-Semitic. That's essentially what she's saying. Muslims live in New York too, and he had to get a lot of Jewish votes to be able to win that primary. And he crossed endorsed with Brad Lander, and so it's just like the anti-Semitic thing is just so ridiculous. No one cares about Eric Adams hanging out with Sneeko, who's literally an anti-Semite, who has literally done like Holocaust denial shit. So I'm not understanding. Thankfully, Kristen Gillibrand has received a lot of flack for this, but anyway, the reporter was like, oh, he's never said that, he's never done that. Like, and when it came to the globalized intifada, like he said he doesn't want to police words. He never said it himself.
I just feel compelled to say, we can find no evidence that he has supported Hamas or has supported violent jihad, as that caller was asserting. Can you?
Again, Brian, I don't have all the data and information, and I've never sat down with Mr. Mamdani. So I've asked to have that meeting. I'm going to have that meeting. We will talk through all these things. He can tell me his views of the world, and I can learn them firsthand. I think the reference that I had read was global intifada specifically, which has very serious meanings that are violent and destructive. So
which he says, and I pressed him on this on the show on Monday, but which he says are not calls for violence, because intifada is a much broader term involving all kinds of uprisings and resistance and things like that. So I just want to be clear about how at least he defines it. And maybe he needs to be more clear. I don't mean this, I don't mean that. He did say here that he didn't want to be the word police, even as the mayor of New York, if he's elected. But I do also want to be clear that he said he does not support violent intifada. Is that fair?
So, Brian, I didn't hear your exchange with him, but if I was speaking to him directly, I would simply say that is not how the words are received. And it doesn't matter what meaning you have in your brain. It is not how the word is received. And when you use a word like intifada to many Jewish Americans and Jewish New Yorkers, that means you are permissive for violence against Jews. It is a serious word. It is a word that has deep meaning. It has been used for wars across time and violence and destruction and slaughter and murder against the Jews. It is a harmful, hurtful, inappropriate word for anyone who wants to represent a city as diverse as New York City with 8 million people. And I would be very specific in these words, and I would say you may not use them again if you expect to represent everyone ever again, because they are received as hateful and divisive and harmful, and that's it. So I appreciate that he told you he didn't mean that, and that's great. That's
and
a great
I think
place to start.
Also clarify, or he was clarifying that he never said globalize the intifada. He was asked in an interview if he would denounce the phrase globalize the intifada, and then that led to this kind of conversation, that you were just referring to. But that he was never out there saying globalize the intifada. He was asked about other people who used it. So just to be precise about what happened there. Yes.
Well, as a leader of a city as diverse as New York City, with 8 million people, as the largest Jewish population in the country, he should denounce it. And that's it, period. And you can't celebrate it, you can't value it, you can't lift it up. And that is the challenge that Jewish New Yorkers have had, certainly since October 6th. It is it's October 7th. It is exactly what they have felt. It is why Jewish students in our universities have felt unsafe. It is why Jewish students have felt that their schools did not have their backs and cared about them or their learning, because the people doing these protests use words that have meanings that are far more violent and horrific than they may have intended. But when you hear things like intifada, when you hear things like jihad, when you hear from the river to the sea, it is received as slaughter the Jews and destroy Israel, period.
She's like, well, I just think that like you shouldn't be able to do that because that means violence against Jewish people. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It means globalize the uprising, okay? And it is just that word in Arabic. God, the Democrats, they just never cease to amaze me in how pathetic they are. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. That's why it's so funny when people come in my comments and they're like, oh, but the Democrats. I'm like, I don't like them either. I don't like them either. I actually hate them more sometimes because they know what they're doing is wrong and they know they're going against their base, but they're doing it anyway in their own self-interest. Because Christian Gillibrand gets money from AIPAC also. Which is really funny. Okay, this has nothing to do with anything, kind of does. But Wesley Bell, the person who ran against Cori Bush, who got AIPAC money, he was at the Pride over the weekend, and I got a video of me flipping him off. It's the second year in a row that I flipped him off while he was at the Pride Parade, and honestly, I gotta say, I'm very proud of that. And both times, everyone around me was like, what is this crazy girl doing? But I don't care. F Wesley Bell, man. F him. He also signed on to this, like, thank you ICE shit. Yeah, he's horrible. Horrible. I gotta call him as well. Horrible. That's what's been going on, and like it's really funny because Fox has been putting up graphics of what Zohran, like his policies, and there's been lots of memes about it because it's like, yeah, I think most people want that. Like when he's like, free buses, free transportation, baby baskets for people who have kids, just like stuff like that, and freezing the rent. And it's so funny because apparently they're having to stop doing that because their audience actually likes it. Because of course they do. Because of course they do. This is why they have to fearmonger about socialism and all this kind of stuff. Because it is popular. Because these are things that if you go to Europe, like, are just normal. And here in America, we're like, socialism, oh my God. Or the far left. And it's like, he's really not even that far left. Like, AOC, well, personally, I think he is a lot more left than he has to come off. I think he's a very intelligent man, which is why I find it funny that Donald Trump calls him not smart. Zohran is so intelligent. Anytime someone asks him a question, he always brings it back to the issues, and he does it so eloquently. They have to fearmonger and tell people, oh, it's scary socialism. And it's really like not. It's really not that crazy. It's just in America, we're an oligarchy and we're at authoritarianism at this point, essentially. And, they're going to, if they pass this big budget bill, like literally things are really bad right now. I think people are more open to what Zohran is saying. And I don't think the scary socialism thing is working as much anymore because people are like, okay, well, if that's going to help me afford groceries, if that's going to help me afford transportation, then like, maybe that's okay. Then like maybe that's all right. I just think that Zohran is so authentic and his message always comes back to the economic policies and how to help people. And he even says, he's like, the Democrats are more worried about lecturing people about what they should want instead of listening to what they need. And that is the truth. That is what's happening. And that's why they're so unpopular. There's some people who are trying to get either Eric Adams or Curtis Siwa to like drop out. I don't think Eric Adams is going to drop out. I don't think Curtis Siwa already said he's not going to drop out. I think that's Siwa. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying, I might be saying it wrong. I feel like it sounds like JoJo's last name. Anyway, we're going to stop the video right now because I still need to edit this and get this out today. This is the official end of the video. Please like and subscribe and all the things. I'm still continuing to grow this channel. So thank you to everyone that's here. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a free way to help me out. And yeah, all right. Well, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.